Hey guys, Miss Ragland here, and we are going to get started on our shading project. I can't wait to see what you guys make this week. So for this project, you'll need a good piece of paper with no lines on it, a good wooden pencil, and a pencil sharpener to keep your pencil sharp. So let's get right to our objectives first. I have them listed right here. You want to come up with a 3D effect. That means it looks like it's round and you can touch it. And we'll talk about that in a minute. You want to do at least 2 of the different types of shading that we've learned and at least 3 different values. So in your sketchbooks you have already done value scale from darkest to lightest, so you need to include at least 3 of those, but more the better. And then at least 2 different types of shading. Okay? You also want an interesting arrangement of pipes, and I'll show you what I mean. You have to have at least 3, and you need to have one that's overlapping. And then as always, we're working on our craftsmanship. So here's the project that I have created. Now these are water pipes, and this is what you're going to be making. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of tips and helpful hints on how to get started, and then I'm going to let you guys do your own creations and see what you guys make. But what I wanted to point out was how they look three-dimensional, and that is all because of the darkest darks and the lightest lights. I also mostly do the basic shading, but then I come on top of it with hatching and cross-hatching and even some scumbling. I like to change it up. Also, if you notice, these pipes are overlapping. So this one's on top of this one, and you can see this one clearly goes behind this one and this one behind this one. So that's your goal. You also want to include some interesting things, so it's not just boring pipes, but these are like little connectors. Notice this one's a different shape, and this one has a little bolt on it, and this one has the little threads, the screw threads. There's even a little crack here. So whatever you guys want to do, that's great. Let's get started. First, in your sketchbook, you want to always do a thumbnail sketch. And what is that? That is simply a smaller version of your sketch. So what I want to show you is how to make your pipe look three-dimensional, and use a couple of helpful tips that I've learned. So I just want you to start by practicing one pipe and a connector. So for the connectors, you want to make sure that you make the lines of the connector rounded. And you want to make sure they extend the edge here. Then you're going to put parallel lines on either side. Then you want to make sure to include this little part where it goes behind the pipe. You also want to include a little bit of the top ledge that you would see. Then you can go back and erase these lines so that we know that's our connector. Alright, now we're going to shade it. The best way to shade a pipe to make it look round is to first do a little bit of basic shading all over the entire thing. This is going to be your mid-tone. Then you can blend it with your finger, or if you have a paper towel or a Q-tip, whatever you have to blend with is fine. Now you want to go from darkest on the edges to lightest in the center. So I'm going to go ahead and darken up my edges and make them nice and crisp. And then I'm going to go and just kind of create a value scale right on the pipe. So it goes from darkest to lightest in the center, and the same thing on this side. Also, since this connector is on top of the pipe, you want to add shadow right underneath that so that we know it's sitting on top of that pipe. Now you want to do that for all the pipes that you draw. You guys get to decide your own composition. You want to do it for every section, and you want to do it for these guys. Now if you want to change up the way that you shade them so that they stand out from the rest, you could turn it sideways, And you could go from dark to light this way. Make sure that you keep it rounded, shading rounded, because you want to you want it to have that 3D effect we're going for. And you want to keep it lightest in the center. Now, a couple more things. When you are finished with your basic shading, which is what we've just done, you want to go back and add another type of shading. So whichever one you like the best, or if you want to try them all, that's fine. So for example, I'm going to do some hatching. And I'm going to pick the darkest shadows to put the hatching in, because it's going to make it darker. Remember, hatching is just drawing lines. So see, there's some hatching. You want to do scumbling, that's fine too. That's the little scribbles. If you want to put a crack in it, those are really fun and easy. Just pick a spot and make kind of a dark, random, like star shape almost, like that. And then you just want to kind of add little squiggles and cracks that come out from it and kind of break away, almost like our organic tree branches that we did. And ta-da, you have a crack. Now for the last step that you want to do, you want to go back and create some really white highlights. And to do that, you are going to erase it. Now if you have a big eraser like this, it works great. But if you don't, pencil eraser is fine. You want to erase right in the center where your lightest highlight will be. And I probably should have done that before I drew my crack, but you know. And then you want to kind of just blend the edges back. And voila. You have a highlight. So that's one main pop, and that's how you do it. You want to fill up your entire paper. Remember, at least 3 pops. Now, I really quickly want to show you guys that you can search on Google, if you want to, water pipes. And then if you put the word clip art after it, it's going to bring you up some really cool things. You want to click on images. Hold on, let me click myself here. Images. And then you can scroll through here and see different ideas that you can use. See how all these have different shapes. Those are really cool, and how they connect to each other. There's this section here. These are some different kinds of sections. You could include a faucet if you wanted. There are all kinds of fun things that you can do. This one right here could be fun. You can have all kinds of these little gauges or handles, or really the sky's the limit with what you want to draw. I just want you to make sure that you don't get in over your head and draw too many things. I would rather have 3 good pipes than 50 that are not finished. Does that make sense? Okay, so I can't wait to see what you guys create for me. Again, here's the final product. Let me know what questions you have, and happy creating.